Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about cellular respiration. Our group includes Theo, Rebecca, Alicia, and Christie. Cellular respiration is a set of metabolic reactions and processes that take place in the cells that convert glucose from nutrients into a form of energy, ATP. So the equation for cellular respiration is 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, 6 oxygen plus 6 oxygen. Here 6 carbon dioxide plus 6 water plus energy. So when a person takes in carbohydrate, which is converted to glucose, and is combined with oxygen, you are left with carbon dioxide plus water and energy. Cellular respiration is only 40% efficient, the other 60% is given off as heat.
Glycolysis is the first part of cellular respiration. It is the breakdown of glucose that occurs in the cytosol, and it happens without oxygen. To start the process of glycolysis, 1 molecule of glucose is needed. Activation energy is the minimum quantity of energy that is needed to start the process of glycolysis, and the activation energy for glycolysis is 2 ATP. The total amount of ATP created by glycolysis is 4. The net ATP is 2. An advantage of glycolysis is that it is quick at producing ATP, but a disadvantage is it does not produce a lot of ATP due to it being an anaerobic process, and it only produces 2 ATP at a time. The end products of glycolysis are 2 pyruvates, 2 NADHs, and 2 ATPs.
Pyruvate oxidation is an intermediate stage between glycolysis and the citric acid cycle. The process consists of the conversion of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. It requires oxygen and it takes place in the mitochondrial matrix. Pyruvate oxidation requires oxygen to continue through cellular respiration. Although if there is not enough oxygen, it goes through a process called fermentation. There are 2 types of fermentation, alcohol and lactic acid, but if pyruvate oxidation goes through anaerobic oxidation, it does not continue to cellular respiration. The intermediate process begins with 2 3-carbon molecules of pyruvate that combines with coenzyme A, and it ends with 2 acetyl-CoA, 2 carbon dioxides, and 2 NADH. The Krebs cycle is a series of reactions for energy production, and carbon dioxide is released by breaking down acetyl-CoA to form ATP, NADH, and FADH2. The Krebs cycle does require oxygen, and it takes place in the matrix of the mitochondria. The citric acid cycle begins with 2 acetyl-CoA that combines with the 4-carbon molecule called oxaloacetate, and it ends with 4 carbon dioxide, 6 NADH, 2 FADH2, and 2 ATP.
The electron transport chain, or ETC, is a cluster of proteins that transfer electrons through a membrane to create a gradient of protons that creates ATP that is needed in metabolic processes for cellular function. The ETC takes place across the inner membrane of the mitochondria. The electron transport chain requires oxygen because oxygen is the final electron acceptor during this process. Oxygen is highly oxidized, which is why it makes a great final acceptor. The ETC produces 34 ATP, which help the electron pass through the oxygen. NADH electrons helps give energy to the ATP. Advantages of the ETC are a small amount of energy is released, and it is very fast at producing ATP molecules. Disadvantages of ETC is that it requires oxygen.
The end product of each step are the following: glycolysis, 2,3-carbon pyruvate, 2 NADH, and 2 ATPs. For pyruvate, oxidation is going to be 2 acetyl-CoA, 2 carbon dioxide, and 2 NADH. And for the Krebs cycle, it's going to be 4 carbon dioxide, 6 NADH, 2 FADH2, and 2 ATPs. And then for the ATC, we're going to have 34 ATP. The total and net ATP for all processes are: for glycolysis, 4 ATP are produced, but since we use 2 ATPs to start the process, the net ATP is 2. For pyruvate oxidation does not produce any ATP. For Krebs cycle, 2 total ATP are produced. And for electron transport chain, the net ATP for ATC is 38, total 34.